What's going on, everybody? It's your boy PTK Blam back in the building with another episode of the Shop Podcast. How is everybody feeling this beautiful Saturday afternoon? We having another amazing guest. We already got people filing in the chat. Once again, if you're coming in now, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate all you guys consistent support, man. Appreciate everyone. I want to give some quick shout outs before we get into the panel and our super special guest here. Shout out to Smitty Smith, Julian Harris. We got Shonsu, Mod of the Year. I know Zink was in here a little while ago, back from the dead. Appreciate you guys, man. Every single week, hit that the like button, retweet the link, let everybody know we're live. The Shop Podcast is where it's at for all gaming podcast news on the weekend, man. But let's go ahead and dive right into our guest here. Brand new guest on the show. I've been a big fan of his for a while now. Hugely successful YouTuber, man. Neo, appreciate you hanging out with us, man. Let everybody know where they can find you at if they don't already know, brother.
Yeah, of course. Well, first things first, thank you for having me on the show. It's about time I'm pulling up to the shop, man. I was wondering when am I going to take this trip down here, but you know what? Everything happens exactly when it's supposed to. But yeah, quick introductions out the way because, as Pong so famously knows, I hate talking about myself. But my name is Neo GameSpark. Y'all can call me Neo. Y'all can call me Chris, whatever y'all prefer. I am a YouTuber indifferent than anyone else on this glorious show that just loves talking about games, anime, manga, movies, you name it. And I just love to spread that joy with everybody else. So yeah, that's my stick right there.
Man, appreciate you hanging out, man. Like I said, I've been a big fan of yours. If you're a fan of the channel, please go subscribe to this gentleman. All of his information is down on the link below. His Twitter, his YouTube channel. We got to spread love. That's what we do here. We support positivity. We support good content. And if you want good content, go check Neil out, man. But I appreciate you hanging out with us, spending a little bit of your Saturday here at the shop, man. It has been long overdue, but you are here today hanging out in the shop, man.
I'm excited.
Oh yeah, we're gonna rock out, man. And before we get into the three horsemen here, shout out to our other horseman, Stag, man. Appreciate you wherever you at the house, man. Just keep doing what you're doing. Hopefully you feel better soon, brother. Let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Pong. How you been, Steve Harvey? I'm on 12 shows a week.
Look! I got to take a break this week. I got to get back to my normal schedule after E3, so it was all good.
Shows a week this time, huh?
Yeah, right. I felt a little bit bored, so no, man. You know how much I love talking video games
I know.
In the industry, so it's great. No, I had a great week. Got some gameplay and just enthralled right now with what I've played so far on Scarlet Nexus. So just a phenomenal game. Absolutely loving it. So that's been awesome. And of course, tonight it's Saturday night. I'm here with the brothers. I'm here. And then of course we got to have Neo, who's decided to follow me on all my shows.
Here we go.
You know what? My stalker, Neo.
Here he go. Not even 10 minutes into the stream. This man's coming with the slander. Well, listen, chat, I will let y'all know that, for a person who's supposed to be, or what you say, this is your show, Pong, you're on this show. Why is your guest showing up earlier than you to the stream? What's up with that? What's up with that, Pong? Let's get to the bottom of that.
I'll take that return slander. It's okay because I'm already prepared. You have to get prepared, right? You don't come prepared. So you had to talk. You had to talk behind the scenes.
No. I just showed up because that's courtesy. You showing up, stumbling out the car with the Starbucks and everything, saying, show 5 minutes before show. Oh no, darling. 30 seconds or bust. That's it.
So what you're saying, he is the Robert Downey Jr. of YouTube.
Exactly. I was gonna say Paris Hilton, but
wow.
Hey, I'm good looking, so that's good.
There you go. That's true. That's true, man. That's true. Just growing is quick, man.
I love my brother Neo, man. It's been great. Like I told him, man, I've been following him long before I even joined the community. I was following Neo because he is just an awesome individual. So just happy to have him on another show with me, man. I appreciate you being here. Yeah, we're gonna have a good show, man. Even though we got a little E3 hangover, we still got some good topics tonight. So definitely ready to get down to it, PTK.
For sure, man. Let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Centurion. How you been, brother, this week? What you been cooking up?
Oh, man. It has been a great week. Finally got some things wrapped up. Finally have more time on my hands. Getting ready to start actually diving into a game after tonight's show. I actually don't know what to play. Anybody got suggestions? I want to get Scarlet Nexus, but I'm still playing Code Vein.
No, you got to hit up Dark Alliance, man.
Dark Alliance, Scarlet Nexus. Yeah, man, there's plenty of stuff. We got plenty of
Yeah,
stuff.
I was talking to Fuzzy the other day about Chivalry 2. I'm actually wanting to get Chivalry 2. I will put that out there.
Bro, everybody on the feed been playing that game.
Yeah, man. I remember watching YouTube videos of the first one. It was the most hilarious thing I ever saw, bro. I swear to God. I used to just like people do playthroughs and live streams. It was the most quirky, hilarious game. It was like I was like, is this game broken? But it looked like it still looked fun. It's an amazing game for what
How
it
is
is.
it hilarious? Now I'm curious.
Fuzz, it's so funny. You haven't just look up Chivalry 2 on Twitter or YouTube. You'll find all types of clips and montages of just hilarious random stuff happening. It's amazing. It's amazing. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The dialogue,
even your own teammates.
Exactly. It's ridiculous.
Bro, my bad, guys. My bad. I'll try not to do that again.
You're good, brother. You're good. You're good.
No, I'm talking about that would be me on the field lighting the place on fire. Going, my bad, guys. That'll be my bad.
Yeah, you stay in the front. You stay in the front of all of us. We don't need no arrows in the back.
I told you guys I shouldn't be trusted with the lighter and the explosives. Tried to warn everybody.
No, but other than that, man, how's your week's been good?
Oh man, it's been a good week. Trying to catch up on all the remaining videos that I missed on E3. But yeah, it's been a really great week, man. Just kind of sitting back. You want to know one thing? I actually am planning tonight or tomorrow morning, me and my wife wanting to try the new Sea of Thieves expansion out because I'm just a sucker for Pirates of the Caribbean.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, dive into it for sure. Let's go ahead and throw this over to you. Fuzz, man, last but not least, the man with the cognac voice. What's up with you, brother?
Not much. I've been just chilling this past week, playing a little bit of everything, and man, so glad to have Neo on here today. Been following you ever since I guess you picked up your Xbox One X, and yeah, a lot of the same views and agreement on some of the points with that console, which was one of my favorite as far as like more recent consoles and stuff. But man, just so glad to be here. Got a lot to unwind. Twitter's been a mess. Let's get into it.
There we go.
Let's dive in, man. We got a lot of topics today. Appreciate the chat, man. Still Rain, everybody coming, Last Emperor, everybody in here hanging out, man. Once again, retweet the link. Let everybody know we're live. Like the video as well. If you have not subscribed already, please do. So let's get into it, man. We are going to start with the poll of the week, man. If you're not familiar with that and you're new here, follow me on Twitter. That poll of the week goes up every single Monday, and we talk about it here on Saturday on the Shop Podcast. So this week's poll of the week was really kind of it's a bit early for this question, but I kind of like to gauge the temperature of the community, and this is why I threw this out there. So the poll of the week was, we're about 8 months into this new gen. In your honest opinion, what grade would you rate this gen so far? Now, this is all encompassing hardware, software, and no wrong answer. Just curious. So we got A, B, C, D. Obviously, most people rated it B, 51%, which won the poll. A was second, 31%. C was 15%. D was 3%. So we're gonna start with our guest, Neil. We going in feet first here, brother. All right. We're 8 months in. As far as Sony, Nintendo, Xbox, PC, where you at as far as where you feeling this generation? Would you grade it an A, B, C, or D at this point?
I would definitely grade this generation as a B, but before we even can talk about the concept of grading, like 8 months in, I think what differentiates this generation compared to the last is this generation, unfortunately, a lot of these companies cannot really fire on all cylinders because a lot of the games that we were going to be playing within the first 8 months of the generation have unfortunately been delayed until later on this year, some even into 2022. So a lot of the things has tarnished what we would view as the generation. So looking back on it, it's going to be really interesting. But overall, like despite all those things, I mean, I'm having a blast, bro. Whether it's on Series X or on PS5, I'm enjoying my time playing these consoles because, and I said this before the system's even launched, this is the first generation since the Xbox 360 PS3 days where both companies are firing all cylinders. Like both companies, both consoles have an identity. You know, PlayStation's had this identity for a while. Xbox was stumbling a bit last gen, but now they've got their identity and they're moving forward with the Game Pass day and date stuff. So it's really exciting. Now, granted, there hasn't been a lot to play on the Xbox side in terms of new games, which is kind of disappointing. They did launch a console with no new games to play. But, you know, despite that, and whether or not like you like Ratchet and Clank or you like Returnal, both these consoles are just very good at what they're doing in terms of playing games. Last generation, I think a lot of people forget how dull of a generation it was for the first half. I mean, Xbox definitely had more games out there than PlayStation, but as a whole, it wasn't really that exciting. Nowadays, we're playing all our old games in our backlog. You know what I'm saying? But all these games run better. They look better. We're getting like 4K patches, 60 frames per second, and everything is just smoother this generation in terms of everybody being connected compared to last generation where shit was still kind of like floundering, waiting for updates, things like that. So, I mean, I'm having a lot of fun with the new consoles. I mean, PlayStation wise has definitely put out a lot of exclusives I like. And Xbox is now starting to catch up. I think, what do they say? Like 6 and 6 is their hashtag for the next 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting a major release. So that's going to be really exciting. And just in general, if you're looking at the games that come out year one, even though we are in this dry spell period, there's just a lot more interesting games coming out that I'm personally looking forward to. So, I mean, I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun.
Okay, so I love the analysis. I love that you backtracked and kind of gave us you kind of gave us a quick analysis on like everything that happened prior to, because I think you went over the biggest thing. All these companies, so Xbox clearly started at a deficit last generation. They were swimming uphill from day one. 2013 was a mess for Xbox. And that kind of set them back. They were digging themselves out of a hole for like 4 years. They spent the entire generation, last generation, just trying to get back to even, trying to get the brand back to a good spot, let alone Xbox overall. People didn't even trust Xbox as a brand, let alone wanted to buy the console because of some of the things that occurred, 2013, 2014. So last generation was a watch for Xbox. So it's nice to see everybody's on an even playing field. When those new consoles drop, everybody starts from zero at that point. So it's good to see that all companies, like you said, Neo, are firing on all cylinders. And I think that's the most important thing that I take away from this generation so far. Yeah, Xbox, as far as first party, some of those games aren't here yet, but we see the roadmap. Unlike last generation, we know all these things are coming. They've showed us different things. Sony obviously just continue to do what they do. Nintendo obviously continue to pump out the games that they make. So I agree. And this is something that we're going to move on to Pong here. This is something that Pong's talked about extensively since the first day he got here, talked about us being in this golden age. So I want to go back to you real quick, Neo. Would you agree that could we possibly see a generation where all three of these companies are really just firing on all cylinders and we're in this golden age of gaming?
Well, definitely with PlayStation and Microsoft, because they are the two titans of the industry. I mean, Nintendo obviously is a beast in their own regard. Nobody creates games like Nintendo. Nobody sells games like Nintendo. But the unfortunate reality of Nintendo is that they haven't really been catering to us. I mean, yeah, we do like the occasional Smash Bros. We do like Mario Kart, but when we're talking about a device that, you can message your friends on, like, it's like Nintendo. I mean, I'm not going to get into my whole rant. I love the Switch and everything, but I wouldn't say they're really in a golden age because they're always just, they've got like one foot in the reserve. Like, we're not going to want to do it. But generally speaking, yes, like I am so excited. Even if PlayStation just maintains the status quo and pumps out more exclusives, like that's awesome to me. Xbox doing this whole like multi-platform thing, console, PC, cloud, and they're funding all these new games, bringing back old IPs. Like that is awesome. Like I just can't see why people say like, okay, this generation is not exciting. I'm like, did you game at all in the past like 8 years, bro? Like shit was dry from 2013 to 2016. Shit was dry, bro.
Yeah, no, I agree. We went through a tough time there. We definitely went through. So great breakdown, man. Good job getting us started off. But I agree 100%, Neo. This is a completely different atmosphere as far as in game where we're at now than last generation for sure. But let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Pong. Get your opinion, brother. I know you've been on this hill for a long time about the way this generation is going to go, Pong. But where will you grade this generation so far, in hardware, software, kind of everything included?
Well, this is all subjective, obviously, from where you come from. Now, again, I came from, PlayStation 4, the original, and I came from the VCR Xbox, and I came from a 1080p TV, right? So
Yeah.
for me to go from that to my Series console, my Series X with a OLED 4K 120 TV, like for me, this felt like a generational leap. For a lot of people, it wasn't as big, especially in the beginning of this generation. But for me, overall, right now, I give it an A minus. So I put it in the A category. I can't give it an A plus because obviously there's been some stuff that has happened that's missed. But I am also not going to hold against any of these companies what everybody went through this past year, over a year now, right? And I'm not going to hold against them. They had no idea the chip shortage was going to happen. They had no idea that games were going to be pushed back as far as they have been. None of that. So I'm not going to take away from that grade because of the things they could not control. So from there, when you look at what has happened for, again, each one of the companies that are involved in this generation most heavily, you've got to say that they've all done what they do best very well. With Microsoft and Xbox, they have grown Game Pass exponentially since we started this gen already. What they have already been able to get as far as content to put in here. Now, again, I understand first party's been lacking, but as far as what they've done to replace that first party with second, third party stuff has been absolutely astonishing for myself as a gamer, because I like to play all types of games. So for me, it has just been Christmas day after Christmas day after Christmas day. There has been no time where I have looked and said, boy, I really wish there was something new for me to play. That has not happened once. And then if you look at the backwards compatibility, what they've done to improve all the older games. Yes, I love old games. Again, people want to crucify other people and say, how can you love old games? Hey, I love old games, and I love going back to the games that I missed and playing them at their best, right? That for me is just spectacular, and that has not ended since it started. We still are seeing companies. We just got Jedi Fallen Order with a full upgrade, right?
Yep.
We just got Metro Exodus with an incredible upgrade, right? For free. All this stuff is being done for free. And you look over at Sony. Sony's done their job. Sony's done exactly what they needed to do. Yes, have they had some missteps? Yes, do they have some communication problems that they've allowed, again, that has caused a little tarnish here and there? Sure they have. But what have they done? They've given their fans exclusives to look forward to starting out the gate in the generation, something that Xbox unfortunately could not get done. Obviously, the big one being Halo missing. But that's going to eventually turn around. Obviously, we know again, with all the studios, we know it's just time. The avalanche is coming. We can already see it coming, like Neil was just talking about.
No pun intended about avalanche, by the way.
Yeah. Well, now we can say there's probably pun intended, right? So I think we're getting to that point now. But I've been saying that forever. But now we're going to see the end of this year. What we already know about is crazy. What we've got coming. So again, as long as those games hit, Xbox no longer can be said that they aren't pumping out first party titles by the end of this year. But Sony has done that, and they've done it consistently. They found a way. Yes, there was some of that cross-gen stuff that wasn't supposed to be cross-gen. That was, we believe in generations. But, you come out with a Ratchet and Clank that blows everybody away, and really shows off the power of the PS5. Returnal, which hit well, had its issues, but hit well. Again, they did their job. And you got Nintendo just rolling right along. And yes, is it disappointing that we have not heard of a new system? Yeah, it is, because we all know it's going to happen. We all know that it's probably already in production at this point or going to be very shortly. So the announcement just has to happen. And I think, but if you remove yourself from what you expect out of Nintendo, or I should say what I expect out of Nintendo, because again, Nintendo hasn't had anything for me in decades that has made me go and buy one of their systems. If I remove myself from the personal stuff and I just look at them as a company, they're giving their fans what they want. There are people literally right now on Twitter still claiming that Nintendo saved E3 with their presentation. Okay, literally saying that because they got a new 2D Metroid. Instead of Metroid Prime 4, which everybody's been asking for, and which was supposed to be done years and years ago, they got a 2D Metroid, and they're saying that won E3, along with a 10-second, 15-second clip of Breath of the Wild 2, which looked exactly like Breath of the Wild, and no name, no nothing else. They just got this short little video clip. and people are extremely excited. So their fan base is happy. Nintendo's doing exactly what they always do. Again, respect the hustle. I'll never downplay Nintendo. So they've given their fans what they wanted. And as soon as they announced this new Switch Pro, oh my God, good luck getting one for the next 2 years, because it's just not going to happen. So I got to give everybody an A- heading into this generation, because I'm not going to take away from the stuff that couldn't be controlled. What they've been able to do, though, has been extremely impressive. And for me personally, it was a ridiculous leap from where I was to go here, and what I see coming from everybody. Again, golden age of gaming is coming. The Avalanche is here. It's on. It's been fantastic.
Check the archives. He's been saying this since he started on the show. I promise you. So this is something fun. This is something he's been Pong's been preaching, man. He's been seeing this coming. So no, great breakdown, Pong. I agree a lot of what you said. Regarding Nintendo as well. Obviously, they've moved on from a lot of us. Or I say we moved on from Nintendo. I don't know which way it actually is. I think maybe a little bit of both. I think maybe we both decided that this relationship isn't what it used to be, and we should probably separate at this point. But let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Centurion. Get your opinion. What would you grade this gen so far, all things considered, brother?
All things considered, I am going to give this gen, I'm pretty much right there with Pong Soul in the A category. I have no real qualms with last gen. I know last gen exactly wasn't everybody's perfect generation, but at the same time, I didn't have a problem finding titles. I also enjoy playing older games. So that's where, with everything going on, I'm with Phil Spencer on the fact that I feel at least the developers and the hardware manufacturers and everybody in between in the gaming industry has actually done a pretty decent job of trying to help kind of maintain some kind of sanity during the pandemic. Gaming exploded in a way that nobody saw coming. And dude, the avalanche is coming from Microsoft. I mean, I like how you are referring it to an avalanche, because actually in some situations, there's people out there that go out and deliberately cause avalanches by pretty much blowing up explosives. And that's pretty much what Microsoft is doing, is they're out there just randomly tossing bombs. And one of these days, one of these bombs is going to create a pretty good avalanche of content and just general hype for the system. We already see a lot of hype for Microsoft Xbox. We've seen drama, we've seen hype, we've seen anger, we've seen crying. Why there has been so much drama at the beginning of this generation. It's absolutely nuts. But we're not talking the drama of, oh, there's a camera potentially in my house watching me or listening to me, or I don't want to have to buy this, or this guy can, or this is how we trade games to our friends. It's actually nice to see some issues that kind of fuel the gaming industry. We've seen companies get bought out. We've seen different takes on hardware. We're seeing total different takes on ecosystems. PlayStation is doing its own thing. They have really carved out their niche right alongside Nintendo, and it really feels like Microsoft has really hit their stride and is really carving out their niche on their ecosystem. They have really found a direction, or a North Star, as David Preen would really say it, and they are full steam ahead towards the direction that they want to go, all of these brands. And I'm just really looking forward to what the future is really going to offer us all when it comes to gamers. And for the first time ever in gaming, let's also talk about gaming has been a very expensive hobby for a lot of people to undertake. Especially in the past with cartridge games, and the fact that some of these games actually literally have gold in them. So let's look at the fact that now gaming has come to a point where these industries want to put gaming in everybody's hands, and they're cooking up ways to at least do that in ways that save us money with subscription services like Game Pass, the Ubisoft subscription service. There's a number of subscription services out there now that help us save money as gamers, and I'm really looking forward to just what the future can bring us.
Oh yeah, for sure. I agree 100%, man. I agree 100% with a lot of what you said. It's been a good generation so far. 8 months in, I'm not feeling like it's been just consistent, man. I feel like that's been a big thing. I mean, there are obviously some things here and there, but I agree with you. I haven't really had an issue as far as what things to play and knowing what the coming roadmap, and we're just getting started, man. This is literally the calm before the storm, before these companies really get into their cycle, get their cadence, and really start dropping these games every 3-4 months. So we start getting, our backlogs are already crazy, most of us, to be honest, but they're going to get even worse here very, very, very soon. But let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Fuzz, so we can go ahead and close out this warm-up topic here. But what would you grade the gen so far, Fuzz?
I'm probably a little more critical on this generation, at least from the grade standpoint. I give it a B, B plus. A for me means both of them at least release some sort of racing game. So,
oh, here we go.
I was just going to say, because there was no new Forza.
Neo. Oh my God.
In November, so, but I'm still
talk that talk. I feel
it. No, but I give them a B plus pretty much, because let's look at some of the key points. Availability is limited. I'm lucky. I've been fortunate enough to get at least. I'm keeping Nintendo out of it. I'm not going to keep Nintendo out of this. I don't really buy Nintendo, but I was able to get all three consoles as far as the Series X, the Series S for my kids, and then the PS5. I know there's a lot of people still waiting for restocks and things, and they're starting to slowly restock them in stores. So, hopefully that will ease up here soon for everybody. But availability being limited, it's not something that we can really, hold their feet to the fire, considering shortages as well as, basically 2020 in itself. But outside of that's one of the things that knocks it from an A. Storage is not ideal, but it's usable. Now, what I mean by that is we're used to like these external terabyte, like I had an 8 terabyte drive, which transferring the games from the next gen to that external, and PS5 recently had the update so you can do the same. It's a bit slower. Yeah, you can get an SSD external and it'd be a little bit faster, but then you can't play the games directly from that unless it's not an enhanced game for like PS5 or Series X or something like that. But after my 8 terabyte drive took a dump on me, like a month or so ago, I don't really want to bother with the old hard drive style externals. It's either, the external card or cartridge or whatever you want to call it for the Xbox, or wait for PS5 to have their internal NVMe, drive, which hopefully they can get that figured out here soon or sometime soon. Especially considering I want to have more storage space by the time GT7 comes out, but it is what it is. But outside of that, gaming or games that highlight the hardware are limited. Yes, we had Ratchet and Clank, which is definitely going to be one of those standout titles for the PS5 that shows what the hardware can do, not only the fast loading, but just the overall amount of particles and things like that on screen. Actually, Astro's Playroom does that same thing with their controller, as well as the very quick load times. But then thinking back, if you look at Ghost of Tsushima, that was able to load pretty fast on the PS4. But overall, these games they're much better on the newer systems. But like, other than, I guess it was Medium, there hasn't been that Starlight game for the Xbox as far as showing what the hardware can do. Now, don't get me wrong, Coalition did a hell of a job with Hive Busters, but want something a little bit more along the lines of like Flight Simulator, which we'll see that in a couple of weeks, because not even $3,000 machines can run that smoothly. So it'll be interesting to see how the console
that they're getting that thing on a $400 console is surprising.
Exactly. Like, you can't even spend $800 on a card and have a guarantee that you're going to get 60 frames on that.
Dude, and that's what really like separated the people who know about that game, the people who don't, because everyone's like, oh, it's going to be 30 frames per second. Meanwhile, everyone who played it on PC is just like, that game can hold 30 frames on a console. Like, that is not a game that you just max out willy-nilly.
No, I built gaming rigs for my sons. They're on a roll, so I spoil them a bit. But I built the machines that were reasonable for their age. They're 15. So I built them 1080p, 60 frame type machines, which for Call of Duty and all that other stuff, it plays flawlessly.
Nice.
I put Flight Simulator on that thing, turned everything up. It was like 19 frames, 21 frames. Turned some stuff down, preloaded the map, like the surrounding tri-state area around my house. And it was still like maybe 30, 32 frames with some stuff turned down with all the preloaded stuff rendered. But yeah, that I can't wait to see what that thing looks like on the Series X console. But the big thing, the big standout for this generation is load times. Like, yeah, there were some games that loaded fast before, but man, like it is night and day. Like you used to, start a game, get up, go to the bathroom, or go downstairs, get something to drink. No, yeah, that ain't happening no more. It's like respawns, reloads, anything like that. You're basically instantly in or within 10 seconds or less. Like, and that's like a whole map reload type of deal.
I got a question for you guys. As weird as this sounds, this generation, because of the speeds in the new consoles, I don't rage quit games nearly as much as I did before. Because you know how, like, whenever you die after you like really grinding for something and you have like that 15 seconds of loading and you just like reflect on your life, do I really need to do this again? But now it's like it loads back in and it's like, all right, let's run this shit, bro. Let's go.
It don't give you that time to contemplate that you so man. Yeah, I can understand. I haven't like noticed that, but that's kind of cool. I didn't think about that. I never.
Or you could just quick resume to another game.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to quick resume, bro.
It's changed my Twitter habits. I no longer can check Twitter
during
loading times at all, or
answer.
Isn't that a great thing?
Isn't it a great thing?
See, I really want to praise the question though. What are companies like Obsidian and Bethesda going to do? Where at the loading screen they used to drop little tidbits about the lore and stuff about the game. So now how are they going to feed that to us?
Oh, so from what I understand, not to cut you off, but. I think it's going to be done like I forgot. I don't know if it was Ghost of Tsushima that did this, but because that game was the last like example of a game that loads really quick, I think what they're going to do is it's already going to load the game, but if you want to, you'll have to click X to continue. I think that's what they're going to do. So you can still get all your info, but you'll have to just click the button to continue if you want.
That makes sense. That's hilarious when you get a backwards compatible game now and you put it on like the series console and it loads so fast. That
The Witcher 3, you load into the world before the world loads.
How about let's play Mass Effect Legendary Edition in them elevator rides.
Right.
Having that option now pop in the corner going, oh man, I can skip all this?
Bro, I could literally, I don't have to go downstairs and crack open a cold one and come back and that bitch still loading. What?
Yeah, exactly. No, Fuzzy brought up a great point. Quality of life has been another huge changing factor in this generation so far. It's crazy how much you don't think about it until you think about it, and you're like,
especially Pong. Especially Pong going from that VCR. My
VCR.
God.
Oh my goodness,
bro! This man literally went from playing Pong. Literally, no pun intended. He went from playing Pong.
Go ahead, Fuzz. I don't want to. I want you to finish.
That was basically it. Like, the quality of life updates have been huge. That outside of the games, because the games ones that are available now and some of the ones that have been updated and refreshed are awesome, but the quality of life stuff just makes it so much of a win-win for us as far as gaming. I'm happy with my purchases, but I give it a B. But yeah, I know the games are coming, at least the ones I'm looking for, like the racing games. They're right around the corner, so not too much longer.
All right, yeah, that Ford, you're gonna get that fixed very shortly here, Fuzz. So you'll be good. You just gotta hold on a little longer, brother. But we good warm up topic, chat. Appreciate you guys here, man. Once again, hit the like button on your way in. Subscribe to the channel if you have not. Quick shout outs. What's up, Rain of the Third Eye in the chat? Let me just go through a couple people here. Last Emperor, man, shout out to you. Who else was in here? Blue, I already said that. Rick Payne. It's been a while, Rick, man. Glad to see you here, brother. But once again, appreciate you guys hanging out. Let's move on to the meat and potatoes of today's show. We get into the nitty gritty, Neo. It's time to get messy.
All right, so I'm ready to get messy, man. I am not known to be the cleanest of individuals, even though I clean my room. So, how long it'll stay clean, I do not know.
So what's up, 1080? What's up, brother? Dragons hanging out in here, man. How you doing, brother? 108. Appreciate
Lemon.
Appreciate you, man. But let's go ahead and dive in. We talking some Kojima rumors. Okay, we getting a little bit into the weeds here, right? So to speak. So lots been going on with the Kojima rumor stuff, from the that abandoned game and the whole developer situation there, to that actually being Silent Hill and being associated with Kojima, all the way to the other end of the spectrum to Kojima making an exclusive game for Xbox. Where are we at, Neo? And did you get lost in the sauce, brother?
Oh man, so here's the funniest thing, and this is gonna sound so weird, but as a person who's really not the biggest fan of Kojima games, I mean,
it's fair. I'm not either. That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I dislike them. I can totally appreciate what he's done for the medium, the art craft, and I love reading the story of Metal Gear games. Gameplay wise, I mean, I'm just more of a Splinter Cell fan, I'm gonna be honest. But I love reading up the story of Metal Gear and just the whole debacle that was the Metal Gear Solid 5 development cycle. It was so interesting as an outsider to look into that and then see how it affected the fandom. But this whole situation recently, I mean, the whole Blue Box conspiracy, that's a whole other story.
That was weird, bro. That was a weird situation. I don't recall anything ever happening like that.
Yeah,
like
and it's getting weirder too.
It gets weird, bro, especially the more and more they speak on the situation,
and
saying
don't
not
speak
Kojima.
And don't speak on it.
Yeah,
like, we're gonna set up times and dates to come out and talk about it, and then say, "Oh yeah, we're pushing it back further. We'll have more to say later." What?
Literally, dude, it's so crazy. And you know what the sad thing is? It's like right now I've resigned myself from the entire conspiracy thing. I mean, I went down the rabbit hole. I had a lot of fun, and I was hoping that maybe this would materialize to something. But when you push it back a whole 2 months, like, I don't even care if this is a Kojima game or not. That's not fun anymore. That's not fucking fun. Like, you announce it for this date, then you delay it for 2 days later. Now you're delaying it for 2 months. I'm like, at this point, it's like, bro, what is this? So if he's working on this, whether that's whatever, it's irrelevant. But what I find more interesting is the whole Kojima working with Xbox thing.
Yeah.
Because here's the funny thing about it. I'm sure you guys remember, there was this rumor a few months back, and then there was the Phil Spencer interview where he had the statue on him.
The Luden statue.
Yeah, the Luden statue. And then that never really materialized into anything. E3 came and went. We didn't hear anything. Then they announced that Death Stranding was coming to PS5 and only PS5. So it kind of died down for a little bit until there was the announcement of, I forget, does anybody have her name off?
Kim Swift.
Yeah,
Kim Swift. Kim Swift coming in and working with Xbox specifically for their cloud division. And then the rumors just came back up again about Kojima working with Xbox. And here's the thing. Before, I was kind of like, okay, maybe he'll work with Xbox, considering, if Death Stranding was a big success, PlayStation would have let us know. They would beat us over the head with the fact that Death Stranding is the shit, y'all. But considering they haven't reported any sales, that it leads me to believe that for what they expected, they didn't get it, which is fine. It's whatever. They honestly did that more as a labor of love to Kojima rather than, next big thing. But this whole Xbox thing just got more interesting because Kojima is an auteur. Like, he loves experimenting with all this different shit.
Yes.
Like every Metal Gear.
That's part of his. He's very eccentric in that way. So
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And for better for worse, like that it's relevant in his games. They always divide people. Like, some people love Death Stranding, others are like me who just I can't stand it. But to each their own. I'm glad that a game like Death Stranding exists because that is different. It is something people can talk about. But now this cloud thing, I'm 100% more invested, and I think there is something going on with Kojima and Xbox, because that's just something Kojima would do, make a cloud only game. But here's the thing I don't understand. How would that even work, though? Like, what kind of game would that be if it's a game that they're really trying to push for xCloud? Like,
well, remember, he was working and he pitched a game to Stadia. They were going to do a game for him before Stadia said, "Nah, we're good," and decided to take their money elsewhere. That was
old games that no one plays.
Yeah, that was a thing. He was supposed to make a game exclusively for Stadia. I don't know what kind of game it would have been.
I didn't know that.
That was a situation. He was making a game. He went to Stadia. They were in the works and talking, about supporting whatever game he was about to make next. But I guess that fell through with Stadia essentially picking their ball up and leaving the playground. So.
Oh yeah, they're definitely leaving the playground. I mean, did they even have access to the playground in the first place? I question that. It's kind of like
point. That's a good point.
They were outside the chain link fence looking at you.
yeah, they're like that DW in that meme where it's like, I want to be where the people are. Like, straight up. But yeah, like I think that this is going to be interesting. And it's very Kojima to jump ship to Xbox, then announce that he's working on a cloud game, whatever it may be. But the weirdest shit about this is just based off what he did with Death Stranding and the whole marketing of Death Stranding, like connecting the strands or whatever. And then like even for like Metal Gear, I forgot what Metal Gear, I think it was the HD collection because they put it out on consoles and on the Vita. So this is before the days of like smart delivery and automatic save transfers and all that stuff. His process of transferring saves from console to handheld was, I shit you not, called not transferring, transfarring. And that just, I feel like Kojima is doing 4D chess with everything and bringing all this shit back. So, I mean, whatever this materializes into, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and cap saying, yeah, Kojima games, you know, like some people will. But I'm excited. I'm excited because disruption in the industry is always a fun thing to witness.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and it's such a weird situation. And one thing I think people forget when they talk about Kojima, obviously he's synonymous with PlayStation, which is fair. I mean, he really is. Let's be 100% honest about that. But he is not obligated to continue making games for PlayStation. That is his studio. It's an independent studio. Now, I don't know behind the scenes. I know Sony threw him a bone. I damn sure know that, especially with that Decima engine. I definitely think they put a little bit of money into that because there's going to be some PlayStation only games using that Decima engine going forward.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I think he's able to go do whatever the fuck he wants to do because I don't think he's a nomad. He's going to go do wherever his idea takes him. And if Xbox supports his vision, I don't think he's above saying, okay, cool, I'll go make a game for you guys.
And wasn't that the thing of why Kojima wanted to get away from Konami was because of all the micromanaging. So I'm not saying that PlayStation would ever do something like that, but you never know with the change of a regime. Like for example, last generation, Xbox did not have a good regime, and now they got Phil Spencer, better people in there. You just like the whole never say never thing does not apply when it comes to different CEOs and creatives at companies.
No, absolutely. So let's go ahead and we're gonna mix up the order a little bit. Let's throw this over to you and turn around here, brother. Give me, just Kojima rumors, man. Where you at? I mean, Xbox, like I said, we on opposite ends of the spectrum with this Kojima news, man.
Well, man, I have been kind of touching on the Kojima rumors, I feel like, since November of last year, maybe even longer. It's interesting what's going on. I've been kind of keeping up with the whole, I think it was like somebody said their name, like Blue Box or whatever.
Yeah, Blue Box Studio.
I'll be up front. When I saw Fuzzy's tweet where they showed the video of the guy delaying it, and
oh shit, yeah,
I started checking into this, and
it was like a hostage video, man. I swear to God.
You
would think somebody behind the camera with a gun, like
zoom in on his eye. There's Kojima.
You better
right
not
there.
say nothing. You better
you
shut
see
the
a
hell
gun
up.
barrel come in and like nudge
that was
him
not
read the
Shoulder.
script. You better read this damn script.
That was Keeley. That was completely 100% Keeley sitting there.
Yo, I'm telling you, like the fact that Jeff Keighley was, if Jeff Keighley did not follow the account, I don't think we'd be having this conversation. But the fact that Jeff Keighley just gave the spotlight to this, man, Jeff Keighley, if you don't. Anyway, continue.
Go ahead.
Oh my gosh, you got the dude from Blue Box sitting in front of like a PlayStation flag, and there's 4 masked men on either side of him. All right, back to reality. All right, but yeah, when it comes to Kojima, let's say I could see him doing a cloud-based game. We see Microsoft Xbox Give me for saying Microsoft Xbox doing really well over there in the Asian market, especially in Japan. They are doing better than they ever have in that part of the world, excuse me. And the thing is, over there, they have a much more handheld, dedicated gamer base. And I could see Microsoft wanting to implement something from Kojima that is totally cloud-based to potentially help fuel the xCloud infrastructure and also to kind of help push gaming over there. And it'd be really awesome to see something like this take place. I like what was said earlier. Kojima is not held down. Pretty much like he has to stay on PlayStation. Let's look at this respectively. He is an artist. He is an aspiring artist. He likes to dabble with new things. I believe Neo touched on that. And the thing is with him is he has an up and coming studio that he would really like to see survive. Like, I mean, I hate to be mean, but when it comes to business, business is business. And sometimes you have to swallow your pride. And you don't want to be that person that's like, I ran my business into the ground or to the doors closed because I didn't want to do business with that guy when there was no reason at all other than he's just that guy. And so I see Kojima really wanting to definitely push his studio forward. I'm pretty sure he's got a lot of great games going around in that head of his. No matter what mechanics, I mean, bagging poop was definitely a very interesting mechanic. So, dude, to talk about Kojima when it comes to him in the Xbox ecosystem, it would definitely be yet another just burst of hype to the Xbox ecosystem. But in the end, I'm not going to lose my mind if he doesn't come to Xbox or not. It's just really if you really want to be cheesy about it, it's really nice to see somebody out there who is trying to chase their dream, and that is to be a game developer / entertainer. And Hideo Kojima has really helped kind of push himself forward in very different eccentric ways. And man, I can't fault him for wanting to come to the Xbox brand if by some chance there's some money there to help him keep pushing forward his brand.
No, I agree 110%. And like I said, I mean, this is
I know I probably rambled on that one.
No, you're good. You're good, brother. No, and like I said, my biggest thing here, chat, and really, panel as well, is it's just the oddity in which he goes about his business. It's never the same way every time. It's always a little bit different, and you never know what Kojima is actually going to do. That's what makes this all the more weird, because you just never really know. You can't put it past him as far as marketing, as far as all this cryptic stuff. You just never know what kind of, what he has planned for his game. But let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Fuzz. We'll go ahead and get your opinion on this, man, and just where you at, man. We've talked about this on in live parties and on our text messages and things, and it's been all over the place. It's one of the weirdest situations I've ever seen.
I think in the very beginning, I was kind of thinking that, okay, maybe Kojima's working, both sides of the fence. He's doing something cloud related for Xbox, the Luden statue. This was before even the hire from Stadia that they brought in that I think was working with him on his cloud game at Stadia. But Phil Spencer's shelf doesn't usually lie. I don't know what the Nintendo Switch on there is, other than maybe he plays on that as well. But usually when there's something on his shelf, we get some sort of info. And it's probably not ready to be announced just yet. If all the, the cue cards point right, it's going to be announced at like the awards, the video game awards, because it's, one of his best friends is there. So yeah, what better way to, put a stamp on it as far as Xbox having the Kojima game than to have Keighley announce it at the video game awards.
Quick question. I'm going to cut you off, and this is for really everybody. Did any, when we during the Summer Game Fest when Jeff brought on, he brought up because it's almost a tradition at this point for him to bring Kojima up at the show or any show he does at some point and do an interview. But did anybody find it weird? Now, once he got done talking about, this Metal Gear coming to PS5 only, that like he asked him about like, what are you doing next? In kind of this weird ass way. Like, I know what you're doing, but I'm going to ask anyway. Like, what are you doing next? Like, did anybody else get that feeling? I don't know, Neo, did you kind of get that?
I had a lot of feelings, kind of strange feelings, the amount of times he brought up 9/11. That was that was something else. But in true Kojima fashion, he's somehow, like, there was a reason why he brought that up.
Exactly.
Just because of, for those who are old enough to remember what 9/11 did to the world. I mean, not just the event itself, but the aftermath of it really changed a lot of things. And that's why he related that to COVID. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's some parallels in some level and some strand in that next game. But it's just typical Kojima being cryptic.
Yeah, go ahead, Fuzz. I'm going to cut you off. I just wanted to throw that in there.
No, that's perfectly fine. I think the big thing now is that whole Blue Box deal. I think they realize how not to do viral marketing. Like if Kojima was involved, great. Just let the game do the talking. Just give us updates. Don't do the teasing stuff. Just let us see some of the game, possibly a playable demo or whatever, kind of like PT, something along those lines. But they had to go poke the bear. They had to be like, oh, the game abandoned. The real name is going to begin with an S and end with an L. When you start doing stuff like that, and the individuals that you're hinting to aren't involved, it's going to have a hell of a backlash. And I'm glad we don't see as much of it just yet on Twitter, but I think it's going to get to the point where whenever this, app is available in August or whatever, I think if it's not Kojima related, and if it comes out that, this isn't anything to do with Kojima in any sort of way, I think he needs to hire a security team, just because there's going to be a segment of fans that aren't going to care about that game anymore, and they're going to put their fire and pitchforks aimed directly at the blue box devs, which we already see it when people are upset for game delays and broken games being released. I can only imagine the quote unquote misleading of fans that the game is somehow something that it's not type of deal. But I just thought it was weird from get-go. And then I'm a conspiracy theorist. Yes, I wear the tinfoil hat on occasions on some weird things.
We visit Speculation Town very often.
like Bungie being in a part of the Netherlands where I think Guerrilla Games is, or at least that's where they're building their new studio. So my conspiracy theory is that, their next game is going to be PlayStation only, and it's probably going to use the Decima engine, but that's just me. But this whole blue box thing, it just didn't seem right. Like, there's some pretty,
there's some
glaring
there's some
coincidences, but it's Kojima is the type of guy where I don't think he'd want anybody kind of taking his spotlight, nor would he want to necessarily show a game. Not that Abandoned looked bad in any way, but the skin textures, I would say, even for a Kojima test game, that wasn't his level of style kind of thing. Like, I know he likes to have unique experiences and things like that, but I just think this studio is going to learn a hard lesson, especially come August when there's no Kojima affiliation whatsoever. But outside of that, looking forward to see what Kojima's working on next. Although I'll admit I wasn't a Death Stranding fan. Like, I still don't have an answer of why you have to stop breathing for the BTs, but in some of the earlier trailers, they attack dead bodies, which, not that it's a plot hole, but if you're going to have these spooky, cryptic type things, I at least want things to be either consistent or explainable to some extent. But that's all I got.
You'll get the explanation. Just buy the $50 director's cut. There you go.
All right, Pong. I want to make sure we get to every Pong. Pong, where you at on this, brother? Where you at on this mess?
Look. Everybody's craving. This is okay. Let's put it this way. What you see here is a microscopic kind of look at what Kojima does. As much as some people want to deny that Kojima has any relevance anymore in the industry, or whether or not his Death Stranding was a indicator that he was on a downward turn and he no longer had it anymore in him to make a Metal Gear type game. This shows you why he's so important to Phil and his entire team, into Xbox and to Microsoft. What it's going to be is a mutually beneficial relationship. Okay. And the Kim Swift hiring, the announcement of Kim Swift was, again, and all credit goes to Jeff Grubb too, who's been talking about this for a long time. He says the deal is to the point where it's just details, that it's at a point where it's not going to be done. Right. It's at that point already. And that they announced Kim Swift because of they are locked in, that this is a done deal. Because Kim Swift was a vital part of what Kojima was working on over at Stadia. His game was again, this is all based upon talk and stuff that's been out there for a long time. It's a horror-based cloud game, which is going to involve interactions, with the players that could not be done without the cloud. Kojima talked about this a long time ago. He had an interview. I can't remember. I pulled up the article a couple of times. I think 2018, 2019, he did an interview and talked about how enamored he was with the idea of cloud gaming and what it could do for his future games specifically. And he had an idea back then in mind. Now, some people have speculated this is going to mean, hey, you get a phone call in the game, your phone's going to ring at your actual phone, your actual cell phone will ring or get a text message that you have to respond back via your actual phone versus in game. It's going to, he wants to give experiences that haven't been there before. That's always his vision. And I think he's trying to push the medium forward. So like I said before, this is going to be a mutual beneficial kind of partnership with Xbox. Xbox is going to provide him the tools that he has been searching for a very long time. A lot like how Todd Howard had to wait 25 years to get the tech up to where he felt comfortable making Starfield. Kojima is always looking for that next leap as to interactivity, that connectivity that he can have with the people playing his games. You saw it in Death Stranding a little bit with this idea of building bridges across, the entire world for other people to use. He loves that connectivity. He wants everybody in the world to connect to his game. And Xbox provides that tool. Kojima provides Xbox that notoriety, that celebrity status of a dev that still draws this kind of attention, right? That still can put people into a absolute hissy fit, and speculation town everywhere. Speculation town grew by about 1,000 times over the past 2 weeks with this blue box stuff, right? So everybody, even people saying they're not conspiracy theorists, are conspiracy theorists now trying to look for clues. So this is what Kojima does. He brings relevance, and what he can also do for Xbox is he can go ahead and push this cloud gaming forward. This is not just about xCloud, guys. This is not just about that. Listen to Phil's latest interviews. He's talking about developing games within the cloud, which would take gaming development to a whole new level because it gives you to the point of almost unlimited power, and it allows for more creative worlds. If you can build an entire world in the cloud without worrying about the box that's at the house or the phone that somebody's playing it on, you don't have to take that into account. A lot like Flight Simulator with 2 petabytes or whatever the heck it is of data being transferred in. You don't have to worry about that stuff using the cloud. So that just means that your potential is unlimited. And having Kojima be a major figure in the industry coming on board and maybe using some of that tech and talking about it all the time and then pushing out a game, whether it's a success or whether it's a failure, him proving that it can be done and using it in new ways to show off that power, that's huge for the future. No matter what the success at the end of the day, that is huge for Xbox because that's where they're moving to. They are continuing to break down barriers when it comes to different parts of this industry. They no longer just considering the console at home. They are now considering every device as a possible point of entry for a future customer or a current customer. And they are also trying to break down barriers for devs to get into the industry to create on their platform. And they're doing this in numerous ways. And this will just be another one of those ways. But I think the Kojima deal is definitely done. The blue box stuff is fun. You know me, I love conspiracies. I love speculation town. Blue box stuff is fun. There's some compelling stuff in there. There's no doubt about it. People found a lot of weird kind of links to different things. However, at the end of the day, it sounds like a small development team that got caught up in something and didn't know how to handle it properly. And maybe somebody stepped out of bounds within that company and made that tweet about the S and the L driving that forward. And they're going to, unfortunately, if it is not a Kojima related game, they're unfortunately going to receive a huge amount of backlash. And I feel sorry for maybe the devs who didn't have any part in that. They just kind of used the opportunity, not realizing what the end results could be. So I hope for their sake that they come, clean with this, or that somebody kind of breaks the news out and, they kind of get over the backlash before their game is supposed to launch. Because if they carry this forward and keep trying to use this momentum, it's not going to be good for them. And I'm kind of disappointed that Sony hasn't stepped out and said something too. It's just to say, hey, no, they're just an indie dev that's working on a game for us right now, because, they did say that they were working on a PlayStation exclusive game. Just to come out and say that and say, no, they are just a small dev working on a brand new game, codename Abandon. This is it, and leave it at that. I think it would be nice for Sony to do. But again, I can't expect Sony to do all that stuff all the time. So,
man, I just want to know. Okay, I'm down the rabbit hole, guys. I'm sorry. What no-name dev gets a PlayStation blog post with all this cryptic shit? Man, let me not. I'm going back on mute.
There you go. See, look.
You know what though, Neil? With where everything's at, I think that Sony definitely would give smaller teams like this a PlayStation blog, because they are trying to let their fan base know that they are having all this new kind of, after the whole thing about them, downsize and get rid of Japan studios, and, some of the interviews kind of sounding like they weren't going to be doing a whole lot of creative stuff out, they were going to just look for the money makers and focus on those kind of IPs. I think for them right now, I think letting people know, hey, we're still working with small dev teams, we still got indie titles on the way, is kind of a big deal in a way. So I could see that being a reason, but I do get your point too. So
I don't know, man. This shit is spooky, bro.
Yeah,
like it's
man.
just so like okay, whether or not it materializes or whatever, like I've never seen them. I've seen them promote indie games, but all those indie games have had proof of concepts. I've seen them announce studios, but at least those studios are spearheaded by people who This shit, like, bro, the most notable thing about this abandoned game was realistic graphics, 4K 60.
Right. And nothing precludes Kojima, even if he's got a deal, nothing says that it has to preclude him from doing other games. So this could be something that was in the works.
Something's up. But anyways,
we'll see. We can talk about this the rest of the show, but we'll definitely see for sure how this all pans out. And I agree with Pong. I just, as far as that studio go, if it's not associated with Kojima, I do hope that they have a plan B, C, and D for how to handle the fallout. Hopefully they can. they bought a gigantic pillow to make things as cushy as possible, because this thing could come crash landing at any point in time. But let's go ahead and keep it pushing, man. We got a lot.
Before we do, I was just going to say, the Sean Murray protection plan is what he needs.
He can just go AWOL. He could just go AWOL for 12 months. Yeah, he can just
straight up, man.
Hold up in a bunker till things hold, and then come back and be like, we got a ton of updates for you guys. So anyway, let's keep.
What are you talking about? There's going to be another video popping up of him on Twitter in front of that wall again. This time with somebody actually poking at him with a stick.
They're gonna be like, we have a new game we're working on. We don't know what that abandoned shit is talking about. It's called Abandoned because we abandoned it, guys. Get the point.
Too much.
Somebody coming in from an arm coming in from out of frame, handing him the script.
Oh man, too much. But let's go ahead and keep this thing moving. We got a lot to cover, man. So we're gonna move on. We're gonna be talking a little bit about EA. There was some information coming out that EA possibly is gonna revive an old IP. Now, let's preface this by saying that this is a bit of a different EA. We're starting to see EA now. EA has a big hole they've dug themselves in for a very long time. So obviously it's more show and prove at this point with EA, but they seem to be taking the mind that we're going to be a little bit more open about our IPs. We're going to allow our studios to just do what they want to do. We're not going to be Big Brother just because we're writing the checks. We're going to allow these people to be creative. So opening up to the idea of them making a new IP, the real question is, what IP would they revive? And we're definitely starting with you on this one, Neo. I don't know if you've thought about this, but what would you like them to bring back if they decided to do so? Let us know too, chat. What do you guys want to see from EA if they do this?
So I'm just gonna get the obvious one out of the way right now. Dead Space. That's been what the streets have wanted for the longest time.
You cheated off my notes. God.
I didn't think
anybody else was gonna say that.
I know, Pong.
All right, everybody. Thanks. Follow me. I'm out.
That's it. And the stream right there. Goodbye, Pong. But yeah, I mean, Dead Space is an obvious one considering there's been a hole in survival horror, especially Western survival horror, that we have not gotten. And Dead Space, I thought, with the first two games was a perfect blend of the two. It was creepy enough to satisfy those who like those sort of things, and at the same time it gave you adrenaline. So a lot of like the adrenaline junkies, they got something from that too. So that's my obvious thing. I would love for them to remaster the trilogy. I'd play 2 out of those 3 games in a heartbeat. But if I'm being real, and I don't want to sound like I'm raining on people's parades, but I don't even know who in the world's going to make this game. Like,
yeah, Visceral or the people that made Dead Space are already doing Callisto Protocol. They've moved on and they're doing something in that same vein. I don't know who they would get. Visceral is no longer a company anymore, so I don't know who they would get to make it either.
And that's what really bothers me. I mean, in a perfect world, obviously you'd want one of their studios to pull a Respawn and go from doing Titanfall to out of nowhere they did Jedi Fallen Order, which I still think is one of the biggest paradigm shifts of all time. But it's awesome. But the culture at EA for the past 10 years has not been about game diversity. It's not been about giving you those experiences that you're just going to look back on as like, yes, they're just giving you those live service type of shits. And every now and then we get like a nice indie game, which is cool, but to the scale and scope of something like a Dead Space or a Mass Effect or a Dragon Age, I don't even know if the talent is there. Now they could build studios. That would be awesome. But then again, how long are those studios going to be around before they shut them down? Like that. I mean, I don't want to sound like the cynical old gamer, but I like EA and Activision are not the companies I go to for like gaming diversity, because as soon as we get a nice streak of like Activision, perfect example, they did Crash Insane Trilogy, Spyro Reignited Trilogy, Tony Hawk 1 and 2 HD, things were looking up, we got Crash 4, and then boom, all our studios are now working on Call of Duty. Like, well,
every single one of them are working on Call of Duty.
The dream is dead.
All hands on deck.
Exactly, the dream is dead. But I mean, we'll see. I mean, they're making Skate 4, which I'm still so surprised that like I can't, like, the fact that they came out and said, yeah, we just started development, but it's happening. That gives me hope. But yeah, if I had to pick a franchise, it'd be Dead Space. And then we'll see. Like, if the next Dragon Age is fire, then I'll be like a little bit more like, okay. But
they got a couple litmus tests with us. To be fair, Neo, I get where you're at, brother. They got to show and prove with this. We're far beyond wait and see with EA. And we're far beyond that. They got to just show up at this point, and that's just being 100% honest. So I agree with you on that one, Neo. But yeah, so I think my pick would obviously be Dead Space as well, man. I enjoyed those games when they came out. Dead Space was low key ahead of its time with the being able to cut off specific body parts.
Oh, absolutely,
all that kind of stuff. Games weren't doing that back then. A lot of games weren't doing that at all.
Dude, one of my favorite things about Dead Space was the fact that you could adjust the cutter so it could do horizontally, vertically.
That's what I'm saying.
That,
like
bro.
There was no games doing that. With that type of like, there was no games doing that at that point. But yeah, it's a perfect blend, like you said, of the horror and survival. You still feel kind of like a badass, but you're always kind of scared. You know, you're always low key scared while you're running around. But yeah, no, I agree. Dead Space is the obvious choice. The Streets won Dead Space. Chat said Def Jam. That's cool. We're a little older.
No. Def Jam is on my fucking shit list after what they pulled last year. Hell no. Hell no.
We got ourselves into some shit. No, but I listen. That chat. That's just that I think that's more of a niche. A lot of people aren't familiar with those games. I don't know how big of a want there is. I think there's some people that want that, but I don't think everybody wants a Dead Space. Let's be honest. So I think that will be the way to go. But I agree, Neo. We just gotta wait and see. Like Dragon Age is coming out. They have to show. Well, Dragon Age. That's what. Yeah, they have to show a little bit better as far as their new strategy and them supporting these studios and making great games. But let's go ahead and throw this over to you. We're gonna mix it up again. Fuzz, we'll start with you on this one, man. What game do you want to see to come back?
It's probably a matter of bad timing because there's some other games that are going to kind of fit into this genre. But Fight Night, just Fight Night.
Oh my God.
Just bring back Fight Night. Come on. I mean, seriously, why do we not? No, but yeah, with was it esports, boxing or something like that? It figures EA would do something along this lines where other people are now going out doing the hard work of getting licenses and, you know, contracts with particular fighters and stuff like that, or even the movie-based one with the Apollo Creed boxing game. It's like we finally are getting some boxing games, and then knowing EA, they'll come out here and be like, "Oh, Fight Night with all the leagues and all the boxers," and it's like, ugh. And then you'll have like not loot boxes, but you'll be able to buy Mayweather for $20 more or something like that to add as DLC or something. But yeah, Fight Night, because it's they just need to do it. Period. End of story.
No, ain't nothing wrong with that. I know that would be a difficult because boxing, it's not a league. There's no one governing body. Everybody's like an independent contractor. Everybody's going to want their own individual piece of the pie. That's why no boxing game has been made thus far. But either way, Fight Night's a big one. Let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Pong. What game, what game do you or IP do you want them to revive?
Well, I mean, Dead Space is the obvious. I mean, it makes the most sense. And after the success of Mass Effect Legendary Edition, I've been saying this all along, and it's kind of one of the reasons why I felt that backwards compatibility didn't get the upgrades for Dead Space, because we know Xbox does go and ask the devs, the original devs, if it's okay if they go ahead and boost the frames and that kind of stuff. And obviously that didn't happen with Dead Space, and it was a very obvious choice to get done, but it didn't. And I kind of had a feeling all along that EA was looking at potentially either doing a remaster, like they did with Mass Effect, or moving forward with the franchise and maybe going back to the remaster later on, depending on the success of if they did like a Dead Space 4. I think that's the most reasonable and likely one. Looking at what they've got, Burnout got a remaster, and they just picked up Codemasters, and obviously Battlefield development is wrapping up. So obviously Burnout would be another good choice, between Codemasters and obviously Criterion getting off of Battlefield and having something to do. That's certainly a possibility. I know Need for Speed is still out there, and they kind of said that's on hold for right now. The other one, and this is just because of kind of the games that we are starting to see come out, is SSX, Tricky, coming back, snowboarding. We've seen now Shredders coming out. We saw Steep come out from Ubisoft, and obviously Ubisoft has their Riders Republic coming out. So that extreme sports stuff is starting to come back into vogue again. And there is a large percentage of us gamers that were huge fans of the SSX series. And to see that come back would be a big winner as well. Now, the only thing is, who's going to do it? And that would be a big question. But those would be the ones I'd look at. But I'm pretty sure it's Dead Space at this point. I think it's a done deal, that's the one coming back. So
okay. All right, nothing wrong with that. Let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Centurion, man. Where you at on this, man? Which old EA IP do you want them to revive, brother?
Man, I feel like the thunder was taken with Dead Space, but it was almost like a given. I really enjoyed those games. I kind of sat there and stared at a list of like EA games, trying to see exactly what titles they've all been really responsible for. And it seems like in their past, they had a lot of licensed games, Star Wars, Simpsons. They just did a lot of that. And it seems like they have definitely shifted, and games as a service seems to be more of their focus. We all remember when they came out and said that, singlet player experiences aren't what people are looking for anymore. And then obviously we came out with Jedi Fallen Order, and that completely contradicted what EA said. And this was a licensed game using the Star Wars franchise. And really, it'd just be really nice to see EA kind of get back into maybe almost doing that again. They were able to give us some pretty fun experiences back in the day, at least during the 360 era. Army of Two being one of them. I just kind of I want them to go back to their roots, an EA that was not blinded by games as a service. Everybody here has mentioned some really great titles. I'd really have to dig deep to really, really find one that could kind of outdo Fight Night or Dead Space. But that's where, at least for me, when I was looking at all the games, I just saw a lot of really good licensed games from back in the day that you just don't really see too much anymore.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, they got a lot of franchises. Some are more well known. Obviously, Dead Space was a big one when we heard about the news. Whether it's true or not, what we heard about the news, that's the first thing that people jumped on Twitter and said, "Hey, Dead Space for sure." So hopefully that one's coming. Pong brought up a great little tidbit information that it has not been remastered and or remade as of yet. So, and we know Xbox will do that to just about every game that they feel like they can. So that's very, very interesting, and I didn't even catch that. But let's go ahead and move on, because this next topic is really what I want to talk about really this week, man. And this is the FPS holiday battle. The trifecta is back in business, boys. We got the big three back this year, where hopefully where they need to be. Now, we got COD, we got Halo, we got Battlefield. It's been a long time since we've had them all competing at a very high level. And this may be the first time in a long time that they're all in a really good space, and they're going to be competing. So it's not necessarily a versus. I just want your opinion on what that battle is going to look like, Neo, and where you at on those big three getting back to. Because let's be honest, that's a trifecta. That, as far as shooters, that's it. That's the creme de la creme. You can play other games, but those three are on that. As far as I go, are on that top tier as far as shooters. So where you at on just that battle? How do you see that shaping up this holiday?
So this is actually going to be really interesting, considering we are in a different era, and all three of these games are launching differently than they did in their heyday. Now, of course, they all still do have their traditional releases, Battlefield, Call of Duty, and Halo. But one thing that's different, especially considering the last mainline Halo game we got was 2015, we are in an era of free-to-play battle royale. That has been the norm for the past couple of years, so much to the point where the vast majority of people who I know personally, they don't buy annual releases anymore. They're playing things like Apex and Warzone and all of those titles, and they're spending money on the free-to-play games versus buying the yearly installments. Now, of course, if you buy the yearly installments, you get some incentives, but free-to-play is definitely where things are going. Microsoft was very acute to that last year when they announced that, hey, Halo multiplayer is going to be free to play for everybody. You've got 120 FPS, yada, yada, yada. So, I mean, like, the basic answer is I think everybody wins, considering regardless of what you're into, you have games to play. And unlike last generation, well, not really last generation, but 2 generations back, where the life expectancy for those games was roughly 1 to 2 years. Like, very rarely would you have a game, unless it was Halo, that continued getting updates for years. Everything was definitely more annualized back then, but now games as a service, games are a platform, and they continuously add on to that. So the odds of us seeing a Halo 7 in the next 2 years is very, very, very unlikely, because they're just going to update Infinite and maybe do campaign drops. But I'm going to be interested to see how Battlefield performs, because Halo's free to play. Call of Duty, even though you can buy the new one for the campaign or the dedicated multiplayer, that's still free to play in the public conscience. Battlefield is the only one that's launching at $70, just campaign.
True. That's a good point. That's a great point.
Now, me personally, I don't know how you guys feel. I have no problem with it.
I don't either.
$70 as a multiplayer only game.
You're gonna get 1,000 hours out of it if you play it enough.
And that's all I'm saying. I'm not gonna throw shade on people out there, but let's be real about life for a second. None of the people saying it should have a campaign rank the Battlefield campaigns in their top campaigns. I'm just gonna be honest. Like, let's just be real about life for a second.
I said the same thing. I'm like, wait a minute. The last 2 Battlefields had campaigns and nobody played. None of y'all talked about them. I don't want to hear that. Yeah. I don't want to hear it about this campaign stuff, because go back and play BF1 and BF5. I didn't hear nobody in my timeline talking about the campaigns. When those dropped,
yeah, like, there's a conversation to be had about excluding modes and then charging more. Yeah, let's be real about it. Like, if, let's say, for example, they launched the next Last of Us and it didn't have a campaign, it was just multiplayer, that'd be weird.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But other than that, I think it's going to be interesting to see how Battlefield performs. But it has been a few years since we had a Battlefield game, so obviously people is hungry. But I'm going to play all 3 of them. I'm going to have fun with all 3 of them. And considering these games are going to become platforms for year to come, I don't think there's really going to be a war, because Halo is going to play differently than Battlefield. Battlefield's going to play differently than Call of Duty. So I guess my answer is a non-answer. Everybody wins. Everyone has fun.
No, you're right. That's the best damn answer. What are you talking about, Neil? That's the answer I was looking for, brother. Shit.
There we go.
All winning at the end of the day. But to be honest, now this is the one thing I don't know about COD. Isn't COD going back to World War II this year?
So here's the thing, and I'm actually very worried about this year's Call of Duty, considering we're already in July and they haven't said anything, which leads me to believe those rumors about the development being a mess. I think they are true. That's why they're having every studio working on Call of Duty this year, which doesn't happen. So
that's true. We didn't get any Call of Duty at E3.
No.
None. I didn't even notice it. I mean, I was so excited about, most of what we saw. I didn't even catch that there was not a single.
They're kicking it in the green room with PlayStation.
Stop it.
I mean, if we were going to see something at a PlayStation event, it'd probably be Call of Duty. And I think next month they'll reveal it.
Okay, so maybe we're just waiting on the PlayStation event to see. Well, that's true. We're waiting for one of the big three to do their show. So I will reserve judgment until.
But wait, I have a question real quick because I haven't played. I've only dabbled in Warzone, so I haven't played the competitive Call of Duty that's non-battle royale. But do people still play that every year?
I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. They do.
Okay. The Cold War lobbies are still full, even though Cold War is considered a down one. I personally liked it. It was the first Call of Duty I picked up in years.
Okay.
I like Cold War.
My son likes Cold War too.
Yeah, Modern Warfare still has a huge following in the regular lobbies. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Just making sure because I know everyone I know is on Warzone mostly, so that's why I needed a clarification. Okay.
All right, well, let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Pong. Go ahead and get your quick opinion, man. We got this the Titans are battling again. It's a beautiful thing, really. This is how it's supposed to be. Iron sharpens iron, essentially, in this space. Now, the one thing I want to point out that Neo said, all of these games are going to give you a different shooter experience. They're not alike. They're not like each other. So I know people want to compare them in that way, but they really do they really feel different when you play them. They don't give you the same experience.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead, Pong. Where you at on this, man?
Well, unlike Kumbaya Neo, everybody wins.
This man's going for smoke. Let's go.
It's okay.
We can talk some shit, Pong. Let's go.
We can call Pong Hollywood Pong.
Go ahead, Pong. Go ahead, bro.
No. Obviously, at the end of the day, the gamers win because this competition has been a long time. It's been missing for a long time, and we've seen the stagnation in Call of Duty. And yet people still go get it, just like they do with Madden and every other reincarnated game each yearly, right?
And you remember that one year where Call of Duty had it was the most disliked video in all of
YouTube. That was absolutely when Battlefield 5 came out.
And it broke all the records that fall.
Right, and guess what happened? It still went on to sell some of the most copies
exactly.
Ever, right? So this is the cycle that unfortunately we as gamers have been in. And yes, again, like I said, I bought Cold War this year. It's the first one I bought in I think 3-4 years. So it had been quite a while that I got away from Call of Duty. But at the end of the day, I still am part of the problem because I did pick it up, and not enough people are voting with their wallets, right? Yeah, I know.
This is all Pong is responsible for everything.
I am responsible. That is correct. So, I just want to see the competition levels get back to where they were. I want to see this because it pushes companies like Activision to go out of their way to try to differentiate their game, or to at least move their game forward. And even though they're different styles, and Neil's absolutely 100% correct, you're going to get a different experience from all three of these. Having a healthy Halo, having a healthy Battlefield, and having a Call of Duty that has been healthy forever is a good thing. At the end of the day, we've seen what happened to Battlefield. Battlefield decided to try to take their own route for a couple of years and failed miserably at it. And they got away from what made Battlefield good in the first place. And Call of Duty got to sit there and stagnate and kind of just keep getting worse each year, but people bought it because there was nothing else modern to play. And then you've got Halo, who in its prime was the dominant force. Without Halo, we may not have Call of Duty and Battlefield as we do today, because obviously it was what brought first-person shooters over to consoles in the first place. So to see the king come back would be absolutely fantastic. I think Halo, out of all three of these, and again, I'm a casual Halo fan, I'll be putting most of my time into Battlefield 2042 as long as they don't screw it up. Again, seeing the king come back in Halo, I think they have the best and most potential out the gates.
I agree.
And that comes from a couple different things. Obviously, being free to play, number one, and then number two, their Forge mode. If they get the amount of people that they obviously expect and need to have back into Halo again, and this Forge mode is everything that we are hearing it is going to be, they don't need to have all the modes out. Somebody will have a battle royale created within the first week or 2 weeks. And it could become an official mode at some point. People forget how powerful Forge was. And this one is supposed to be beyond anything that anybody has seen. And with the creative talent that is out there amongst the Halo fans, we are going to see some crazy things come out of this. And that could drive streaming. That could drive all the word of mouth that you need for Halo on top of the hype that's already instantly built into a new Halo game, and push it over the top. And by early next year, coming into the new year of 2022, Halo could be one of the top. It could be the top performing shooter out of all three of those at the end of the day. That would not shock me in any way, shape, or form, especially with the PC side of things being open now. I mean, again, that what Master Chief Collection has done over on PC has been nothing short of spectacular from where it came from and what they made it. Yeah. So I just think that they've got the most potential. Now, Battlefield is going to recapture a lot of nostalgia. Again, if they've got their ducks in order and they don't screw it up like they did with the other Battlefields, we're already past the old style battle. We're back to modern days, which is good. We're actually a little bit futuristic here, but not too far. They've already got that part done. Now, if they can get, the maps set and they've got them set up like the old Battlefield, the Bad Company days, the Battlefield 3s, the Battlefield 4s, and they set up those maps properly. They got the spawn points right, and they have the servers on point, which is always a big
that's always
Lord, Battlefield 4, I still have
nightmares. Nightmares.
Yeah.
And now you're trying to introduce 128 players onto the Battlefield map. You better have
stop talking about all of this important stuff and get back to the fun stuff, man.
Right.
Nah, man, you got that shit is just ingrained, bro. Oh my god.
I'm really trying to ignore it, Neil. I know.
I was fighting that game. I was trying to play. I was like, I want to play. Nah. Man.
But if they do have all that straight and they come out the gates firing on at least most of the cylinders, right? They're going to recapture. Yeah, they're going to recapture a lot of the old glory of Battlefield, because there's been people dying, itching like myself to jump back into a Battlefield that feels and plays the way it used to. Those only in Battlefield moments, those crazy nonstop games. Again, after a while, Call of Duty, even though every match can be different, starts to feel the same. With Battlefield, you never get that feeling because you have no idea what's going to happen when you have all that crazy chaos and you throw 128 players together. My God. We got something special coming. So, that's that. Call of Duty is going to sell because Call of Duty continues to sell. Now, if they go back to World War II, could they see a dip? Absolutely, they could see a dip. Could they see a little bit of downfall? Absolutely, they could, which they need. They need to get chopped down a little bit here. So I definitely think that we could see them kind of regress a little bit this year in terms of sales and popularity, with Halo and Battlefield being there on top of them. But I think that at the end of the day, Call of Duty is going to sell just because it is Call of Duty. And there's some people that just cannot stop buying it, just like they can't stop buying Madden. It's just going to happen. It's a natural thing at this point. They already have their wallets pulled out, ready just to run the card. That's what they're waiting to do. So I think that's still going to be there. But I think Halo and Battlefield definitely could make up a lot of ground this year. And I think Halo could reclaim its former glory and get back to being that king again. So it's going to be interesting. I can't wait. This is going to be fun, man. This is crazy. It's already starting out hot.
It's exciting. And the crazy thing about this is I'm going to go ahead and go real quick and I'll let Centurion and Fuzz go. My big thing here now, hear me out, chat. So if we're looking at how everything showed, I agree. I think Halo is going to be the biggest one, and there's a couple reasons why. The free to play is big, the PC is big. I think Halo showed the best. I mean, Battlefield looked amazing. Battlefield looked amazing. I just think from what people thought, like Halo was good, the expectations people thought. I think most people got more than what they expected out of when they saw Halo versus the opposite. I had no idea. I didn't have really any expectations for Battlefield, but Battlefield looked like Battlefield, and that's what got me excited. Halo blew my damn socks off because I had no idea where they were going to go. And the big thing about Halo is that Halo is going to be the one that's the most complete as far as what you're going to be able to get. Like, you're getting a great campaign, you're getting multiplayer, you're getting free to play, you're going to get Forge, you're going to get everything. It's the most complete package out of the three.
Speaking of complete packages, can we talk about that amazing battle pass they got?
Dude, I ain't even got there yet.
Yeah.
They're breaking new ground here, Neo. Yep. That's you buy. So if you guys didn't know, chat, if you guys didn't know, you buy the battle pass one time and it never runs out. So that there's no, I got to get through this in a month and a half, 2 months before it runs out and I have to buy it over again and I don't get a chance to level all the way up and get all of the nice stuff that I get from Battle Pass. You're able to go back. You can buy old Battle Passes. You can even pick and allocate, certain, I guess, I don't know what you call it, XP, whatever the case may be, towards certain Battle Passes. It's such a simple thing too, Neo. Doesn't it feel like somebody should have thought of that already? It's so simple.
Here's the reason why, and like I said, this is just purely conjecture. I have no inside scoop as to why they're doing this, but I think part of the reason why they can do this is because they are owned by Microsoft.
Correct.
And they just open the bank. I mean, if you look at every other publisher who is beholden to a big ass corporation, they have certain metrics to hit. They got to make the shareholders happy. And if they can sell you something every 3 months, that's guaranteed revenue. But Xbox is just like, well, we have Halo. We know people love Halo. We need to get this Halo right. So Battle Pass, you guys are going to play it, have fun. So I think they'd rather take the dip in terms of reoccurring revenue and build that play. It's like Game Pass. Like Game Pass is not they are not making money on Game Pass at all. Like, period. But that's not the point. The point is to grow the subscriber base, and only Microsoft has the capital to do that. So I think that's the reason why Halo's like this. So you gotta just take this shit for what it is, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And obviously that's a big deal for me too, as far as Halo. So I just think Halo is just firing on all the right cylinders. They're saying the right things. There's still a lot of stuff up in the air about Battlefield that can fuck Battlefield completely up. That will throw us completely off the train.
You said we weren't supposed to talk about the bad stuff.
You brought it up. I'm doing it. I'm finishing. This is your fault. This is your fault. I wasn't even going
here.
He's
gonna say you just started a war.
Neo, hey, look, I'm taking the Neo route on this one. I'm taking the Neo route.
There we go, PTK. We got it. We got this.
I'm taking.
Yeah, sure. No. Side with the guests.
Here we go. Look,
we side with the people who eat the hot food, not the microwave shit. Because you came 6 hours after the fact. This man stroll up on Black Friday for Thanksgiving dinner. Say it ain't.
Oh man, tell me about it, brother. We love you, Pong. We love you. No, but we appreciate you, bro. No, but I just truly think that Halo is where it needs to be. It's back. They've given us so much information. There's a lot less questions about where, as far as multiplayer, we still have some things to see, but I think Halo they're doing everything right. And I think that's going to translate to being the biggest game out of the three, as far as, the most amount of players. I just have a feeling that Halo is going to be where it needs to be. Now, this doesn't mean that Battlefield and COD won't. I'm way more worried about COD than I am about Battlefield. I think I'm still all in on Battlefield as of right now. COD, I have no idea where I'm going with Call of Duty. I hear they're going back to World War II. I mean, Warzone is going to continue, but I've never really been into Warzone. So I don't really know where I'm going with Call of Duty. The other two, I'm extremely excited. But let's go ahead and move on here. Enough of my opinion here. Let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Fuzz. We got the Battle of the Titans. Mm-hmm. Where are you at on this, man? Who you think's coming out on top? Well, we're all winning because we're gamers. Let's but ultimately,
Kumbaya, my
lord. I'll put it this way. Even though they're probably the market lead as far as the overall numbers, I think them going with, what is it called? I forget what it's called now, but the one for Call of Duty
is Vanguard.
Vanguard.
Vanguard or something.
If they're going to do another World War II game, I don't know. Nothing against World War II. It has its purpose and whatnot, but I'm tired of playing World War II games. I'm tired. I've been playing them on PC. I've been playing them on console for a while. I don't want to play anymore.
World War II. God damn it!
It's like, unless they can find something new where I can snatch the bayonet off my rifle and start stabbing people. No, no more World War II. Just stop. let's focus on modern or at least Vietnam or beyond. But I think that's going to be at the bottom of the list. I think this is going to be a miss for them. I think the other two are going to wind up doing a good bit better. Halo is going to. I don't know if it's going to reach its old true form because we don't have midnight launches like we used to. But I do think those servers are going to get all that smoke as far as for launch night, and hopefully Battlefield servers can hold up as well, because I think Battlefield ultimately will be the one that comes up on top as far as sales numbers, unless it winds up in Game Pass. Now, this is that kind of thing that we might get shocked at the last minute that it may wind up as being a day and date in Game Pass.
It's going to be an EA play, I believe, right?
Yeah, you'll get the 10-hour trial and be able to access it 3 days early if you're an Ultimate Game Pass Ultimate member.
Correct me if I'm wrong, not to cut you off, bro, but doesn't most of EA's portfolio end up in EA Play within like a year?
Yeah, I think Battlefield 5 or Battlefield V was like one of the fastest ones as far as their Battlefield titles and one of their more recent titles, where that one I think hit in 6 months. But a lot of theirs are usually somewhere around 8 to 10 months. Like the football and soccer game or FIFA and Madden usually wind up being there around 8 or 9 months. So by the time you're talking about Super Bowl time, they're already heading over.
And what happened this year? Madden hit really early.
Yeah,
that's true. Madden did it early.
Yeah, they wanted to get that. They wanted to get that Ultimate Team money out of Game Pass. Let me tell you. Yep.
But, and look at it this way: Battlefield. Well, EA learned from their mistakes on the previous Madden. So Madden 22 looks like it's going to have all the bells and whistles that a lot of us have been asking for. Well, not all of them, but a good number of them for franchise stuff. But I wouldn't be surprised if Battlefield winds up in Game Pass. I'm not counting on it because my son wants it, so I'm going to wind up buying it no matter what. But I just think if it winds up in Game Pass, Battlefield is going to smash some records. Just hopefully their servers can handle it. Halo is going to smash some records as well. I'm pretty sure Azure servers can handle it, but man, I think they're I won't say they're underestimating how well or how popular that game is going to be, but I think they might. So the first few days, don't be surprised if you see some people mad on Twitter.
Come on, Fuzz.
I don't mean to jinx it, but that
E3 did way more goodwill than I think they realized.
The positivity, I had never this. It was a complete opposite of what the first showing was. Complete opposite.
Yeah.
Like as far as the energy I got from Twitter and just the general, even I went and watched a bunch of reactions and all different kind of. Generally, everybody was like, "This shit looks good. Like it looks good." So
I think they might be a little underestimating how stressed those servers are going to become launch day, but we'll see. I trust in the Azure servers holding up a little bit better than the EA ones, but. Yeah, I think it's going to be a miss for Call of Duty. I think this will in turn make for a better Call of Duty the next launch window because it's going to perform. It'll sell 10 million plus copies and it'll meet some of the numbers, but it will underperform from the 20 million that they probably expected it would do. So it'll make for a better Call of Duty next go around. But Battlefield, then Halo, not too far behind, and then Call of Duty not performing as well as it probably could.
And Bobby's laughing all the way to the bank with $150 million bonuses.
True. War never changes.
That's true. Absolutely, man. So let us know as well too, chat, man. Let us know what you guys think about what we're talking about today. You guys have been amazing so far. Shout out to everybody rocking out with us in the chat, man. But let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Centurion, and get your opinion, man. The big three are back. Everybody looks like they got their best outfit on, except for goddamn Call of Duty. They still lagging, but we'll see what happens with them. But where you at as far as on just that battle this holiday? Another thing that none of us talked about, Halo's release date. So where are we at on that? Because Phil did come out and say it's not a matter of months, it's a matter of weeks. We got the anniversary is on the 11th, the 20th anniversary, but that's 2 days after Forza, and that's right around. I don't remember what was the date for Battlefield.
October. It's October.
That's
right?
October. It's not even the same month. Okay, well, it's still, I guess, the holiday season, that last quarter. But it's going to be interesting. So, anybody want to elaborate on the date, possibly?
Yeah, sure. I'll just chime in real quick before everything else. But I mean, here's the weirdest thing. Like when I saw them come out, because I believe they said that Halo was launching this holiday, and then I saw them give a date to Forza. I mean, I was excited about Forza, but then after I cut the stream off, I was like, shouldn't this be Halo's date? You know what I'm saying? Now, traditionally, Call of Duty has always launched around that time.
Yeah.
Which I guess that's the reason why, because even though like we're all impressed with Halo, they have got to make a great first impression. They like, even though, this is going to be huge, they just don't want to capitalize off of Call of Duty, and Call of Duty is one of their biggest partners, so they're not going to launch it the same week to steal whatever thunder. But if I had to guess, I mean, I'm thinking maybe late November, early December. I mean, I would be surprised if it was.
That's late for a Halo game. When did 5 come out?
5 came
5
out.
was early.
5 came out
in like October.
Yeah,
October. Yeah.
I mean, because I always like, part of me was thinking, oh, maybe they might push the release date up to like Battlefield. I think launches October, and they might launch it like within the window between Battlefield and Call of Duty. But then part of me is thinking, would they really want to push up development? I don't know. Like, I don't know. That's just part of me thinking like, yo, this game needs time. But whatever that period, like, I don't think it's going to be delayed to 2022. Like people think
I don't
that
think
for
so
some
either,
reason. They wouldn't do that, because they already took so much flack from saying we're launching a new Xbox with Halo, and then they delay it. Like that caused a lot of damage. So
you don't want to do that again.
Yeah, so I'm thinking it's gonna land somewhere in that ballpark, which I'm okay with, because I'm already gonna play day one, so I'm Gucci.
Okay. All right. So go ahead, Centurion, man. I want to make sure we get to you, brother. So where you at, man?
All right, real quick. I have always been a bigger fan of Battlefield over Call of Duty. When you put the two of them side by side, I've had way more funner experiences and a much more enjoyable time with friends playing Battlefield than I have Call of Duty. God, Call of Duty is almost like the day after tomorrow. I mean, live, die, repeat, live, die, repeat. I understand Battlefield has a little bit of the same idea, but at least with Battlefield, you know, you could run. I don't play the Battle Royale version of Call of Duty, so I know you're not going to have those wide open spaces, which I enjoy in Battlefield. When it comes to the situation, what's going on with Call of Duty, when I read on the internet, and I really wanted to really find out what's going on with Call of Duty before we had this discussion. Yeah, I couldn't believe when I found out that Call of Duty was potentially going to go dabble back into World War II. World War II is a great time in history. It's also a tragic time, but it's also a great time. We see very big heroic moments that take place in that particular war. But there is a lot of wars that could be out there exploring. There is just as great many historical moments that take place in different wars, and it does need a little bit of. I have to agree with all the players on many different issues, especially the one that they're looking for modern guns. One of the big thing that Battlefield really I saw in this the E3, the after E3, was how during those lull times, or those times of like no action, like he was describing, you see somebody modifying their gun and actually changing out mods on their weapon. The idea of doing that on a World War II game isn't really that big unless you want to start tackling the idea of like fantasy and non-factual stuff. That soldiers just weren't doing that on the battlefield in World War II. They weren't swapping out their mods. I just really am now when it comes to Halo Infinite, I'm looking forward to Halo. I miss those good old days. I remember somebody here mentioned the midnight release. I remember playing Halo 3, and you had that little map in the corner, which would show you how much.
Wish they would bring that back.
Oh, dude, I'd show you how many people were like playing worldwide. Yeah. Man, I remember times you'd be like, "Holy cow, that's a white blur."
Dude, I'm telling like things kids these days do not understand. Like that was so dope, especially winter break when you're just chilling, you see everybody, dude.
See, at the time, mean the day after Christmas when it was Noob Day, and you know you were hitting those when you were hitting the online.
That's why I buy games release day so I can get the Christmas.
Wife looks at you. Where are you going? I'm gonna go shoot some fish in a barrel. Be right back.
You wouldn't get it.
All right, but let's talk about the fact that even with everything going on with Call of Duty, they have not really come out and said what they're doing. Is the game being delayed? Is it coming out? Are they going to try to compete this year? That's kind of yet to be determined. And I really feel like maybe Microsoft really is waiting for, I know they don't have to wait for Activision, but let's talk about it. It's business. You are always wanting to know what the other guy is going to do. And it is Call of Duty, for God's sakes. You can't just, it's Call of Duty. Who cares? So I'm sure they're kind of sitting back wondering what's going to happen. And as soon as Call of Duty puts their cards on the table for 2021, I really do feel then we're going to probably see some movement out of the actual release date when it comes to Halo Infinite. Or maybe they are just really wanting to look forward to giving us an event when it comes to like an XO event where they're going to have a semi really decent, hopefully decent deep dive into Halo Infinite, where they're going to touch a little bit more on the campaign. We're going to have a little bit more of a heavy walkthrough of the multiplayer, just some other stuff like
That's
that.
a good idea, actually.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden, you have Phil Spencer, or actually the amazing gentleman, I forget his name, the gentleman that came out with the leader of
Joe Staten.
Joe Staten. Yes. It'd be really nice for him to come out and be like, blah, blah, blah. Here's the multiplayer. Here's the campaign, all this glitz, glamour, and glitter. And you can play it on this date. So, yeah, I feel like they just left that door open because they know that they can just grow that hype for Halo just a little bit. And with the anniversary coming up, it would totally do the franchise justice for it to have just a little bit more of a spotlight put on it during an Xbox event, Xbox oriented event like XO. And I just really feel like maybe they wanted to keep the Halo Infinite news that was released at E3 kind of like on the level, just because they did not want to drown out the fact that Bethesda was on stage with them for E3. So, I mean, there's a lot of, reasons you can make on why they did not do the release date, but none of them, at least in my mind, lead up to the idea that they're keeping it open for a delay.
No, I agree. I 100% agree. And there was a lot of great points you made there, though. I'd love some type of people talking about. So where you guys at on a Halo of some sort, or some type of stress test?
You mean like a beta?
Yeah, some type of beta.
Oh, dude, that's
absolutely.
They need to have it. Let's look at the fact that Gears of War, or Gears 5, those servers broke. On launch, I could remember there was tweets, Facebook posts, gaming media, freaking press releases about how there was some issues logging into playing the multiplayer with Gears 5 for like the first couple hours of its release.
Yeah, I think it would heavily benefit them, especially, and I agree with everyone here, and Neo specifically said, I don't really think they understand what they accomplished at E3. And I don't really think that I think they kind of know, but I don't think it hit them yet, Neo, until like they drop this release date and they possibly give us some type of a beta or something of the sort.
I'm not saying that correlation equals causation. I'm not saying that all of the recent Series X restocks we've been seeing has to do with E3, but I'm seeing a lot of people picking up Xboxes who had no interest beforehand because they saw that showcase and they were like, oh, get like my boy, for example, one of my boys, Joaquin, he's always been PlayStation. He's not a fanboy or whatever, but he's always been PlayStation, never even cared about an Xbox. He saw that showcase and he was just like, dude, I want an Xbox. And this man, he took the most like advertiser type of approach possible. He did the all access program, which is obviously what Microsoft wants because they want people to talk about it. It's like, yeah, man, I got an Xbox, pay $40 a month and I'm good, bro. It's like, but that's, I think, what it's all about giving people options, and Halo being on 3 platforms technically and being free to play is a big option for people. And they do need to run stress tests, because the last thing I want for this game is, well, it's out and it's going to take a few weeks for anyone to get into a game.
We don't want a Master Chief Collection situation all over again. So we do not need that at all. But I agree with you guys, and we're just wrapping up the show here, everyone. But I think that was a great topic. We'll definitely wait and see. It's just nice to even be able to talk about it, though, Neil. Right? Like be able to talk about all 3 of these games to this capacity now.
Oh, absolutely, bro. And that's the thing. Like when you strip away all this whole like which one is better, honestly, what it comes down to is what you prefer at the end of the day. But it's nice that we can talk about games in such a healthy way, because there was a period in time where there was only one game running shit, and that was Call of Duty. Like Call of Duty honestly ran shit all last generation. Yep. I mean, it's like Battlefield was there in the beginning and then it floundered. Halo, bro, it was rough.
Yeah, it was rough. Although Halo multiplayer has done extremely well. Halo 5 multiplayer is extremely popular. So
yeah, definitely.
But no, I agree. I agree. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap the show up, man. It's been an amazing show, pushing 2 hours, man. It's been so fun with Neil here hanging out with us. You guys are always awesome. The chat's been rocking and moving. People having fun, man. We appreciate you guys every single week, man. But let's go ahead and just get to our guest here, Neil. First and foremost, brother, thank you for spending a couple hours with us, sharing that knowledge. I hope you had fun, man. You're always welcome here, man. You're family now since you be on here one time, brother. But much success to you and your channel and everything you do. And people, I do yourself a favor. Please go check his content out. You will not be disappointed. You want to talk about fair and balance? That's what I look for when I'm looking for somebody that I'm going to look at for reviews and for content. This gentleman is fair and balanced across the board. So please do yourself a favor. Go check his content out. He owns everything. He plays everything. He's going to give you the real spit on what's going on. But appreciate you, Neo. Let everybody else know where they can find you, brother.
Oh man, thank you so much. So as far as where y'all can find me, it's at Neo GameSpark on everything. That's what it is on Twitter, on YouTube. That's where I congregate. And seriously, man, thank you for the opportunity to be on here. Over the past year or so, I've definitely gotten a lot more in touch with the gaming community and meeting just such amazing individuals like you, Fuzzy, Centurion, Pong, when he's not annoying me the other 23 hours of the day.
I was waiting for you to fully I was just waiting for you just to leave me completely.
He was loading that up. I saw that point.
Would you rather that? Would you rather that or me just not even mention you?
right. I was already prepped.
Right. But no, like just for example, I've only actually spoken to Pong on one occasion on the last podcast, but it's like literally I've known this dude for years,
right.
You know?
Exactly.
So I think that's the beautiful thing about like this honesty and this like positivity when you can, but obviously we're all adults. We got to keep it real sometimes if shit's fucking up. But I think the important thing is just to be yourself and be genuine, and that's what I've seen tonight. Everybody, even if we had differing viewpoints, we can all congregate, come together, break bread, and have fun and enjoy gaming. And that's what we need more of in the community. So every single person here on the panel, keep doing what you're doing. Every single person here watching, if you're interested in starting a channel and you don't know what you can bring to the table, you bringing yourself to the table is all that matters. We don't need another pretender. We just need more originality. And again, PTK, thank you so much for having me on the show, bro. I appreciate it.
Not a brother, my pleasure. I'm sure all of our pleasure here, man. Like I said, I've been following you for a while. I've seen your growth. It's happening because it's supposed to, because you put in that work. So I have to give you your flowers while you're here, brother. So I appreciate everything you do for the community as well. And it shows in the quality of content you put out, man. So I'm following you. We're all following you. And like I said, chat, please do yourself a favor. Go support this man. He's doing a lot of great things for the community. We're gonna help build him up, man, because he's one of the real ones out there providing good content across the board. So
and likewise, it works both ways.
Thanks, man.
That's
We do a little bit here. We do a little bit here, man. But I appreciate you, bro. But let's go ahead and go over to my other three horsemen here. Pong, Steve Harvey. Pong, Hollywood Pong. You got like 10 names, man. Hollywood
definitely Hollywood.
Man, you give me more names every week, PTK. I don't know what to do with, man.
They just come to me. I don't know why. Go ahead, Pong.
No, man, what another phenomenal Saturday night being here with my brothers and Neo. Love you, brother. I honestly, it's great to do these shows with you. Like you said, even though we haven't talked, like it just feels like old times all the time when I get on with you. And so, man, it's crazy like how that works sometimes. But yeah, no, another phenomenal show. Thank you so much for being here, Neil. You bring so much to the table when you join a show, and your own content itself speaks for itself. So, man, it's just absolutely fantastic to be on here with you. But brothers, PTK, Centurion, Fuzzy, Stag, even though you're not here, man, still
in the chat. Stag
again, yeah, he popped on the chat for a minute, but man, again, these Saturday nights are something I look forward to every week, and there's something special about it. So again, thank you all. Chat, you guys, outrageous as always, man. Great conversations going on, joining in the topics, going off on other topics. Love it all the time. Love to see the activity out there, and love you guys as well for coming out and supporting us each and every week. Obviously, you can find me Pong Soul everywhere, Xbox, Twitter. You know the drill. Tuesdays, Xbox Factor podcast with Mr. Boomstick, Zemi Games, and we should have 3-Bit back this week. So look for us there, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. You know what you're going to get there. Speculation Town. I am the mayor of Speculation Town. So come on by, step in, and check us out. Boomstick puts on so many great shows, and Tuesday is no different there. Friday nights, Xbox Ultimate with Fun Speculation, a.k.a. Mav, his beautiful wife, Caitlin, and the rest of the Magnificent Seven. Come see us there, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. And then Saturday mornings, living split screen with myself and my brother from another, Steel Rain. We are waking the community up. Too. Yep, Steel showed up tonight. Man, we are just having such a great time. We just finished episode 14 this morning. Come check us out next week, episode 15. We're growing. We just absolutely love this community, and we love what we got going on there. And again, we just find some way, him and I, going for 2.5 hours. I know it's shocking because neither one of us like to talk, but we do it. So you know what? Come see us in the morning. Come see us in the morning, and we'll wake you up even if you don't have the energy. And then I'll be back here Saturday night, guys. So again, been great. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. Play what you love what you play, and obviously, you know what? Just relax, spend time with the family, get outside a little bit. But obviously, we're all here for gaming, so have a fun time gaming.
Appreciate you, Pong, man. Every single week, man. He's just listen. I feel like George Steinbrenner sometimes when I'm sitting here, man. I put together a great panel. Everyone here is amazing. We do this show every week. Pong, you're a star. I'm telling you since day one, you're a star, brother. And you just keep doing what you're doing, man. Appreciate you. The energy. Neo, Pong is like the battery here, bro. Like he gives me energy, man. I look forward to the show.
Hey, when I really do go Hollywood, you're my agent, PTK.
Listen, we gonna have some contract negotiations. All
right,
straight up.
Anyway, but gotta love capitalism. But anyway, let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Centurion, man. Appreciate you hanging out here every week, Mr. Consistent, man. But let everybody know what's cooking up with you, Centurion.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us. It was actually pretty fun show tonight. I had a great time. It was really nice to meet you, Neo. You definitely make me want to go out and hit the gym. That's for sure.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Yeah,
dude, I flipped on this guy's Twitter. I'm like, oh man, I'm doing this shit all wrong.
Tyrion was like, when did I hit his OnlyFans? What's going on?
Never have I turned on someone's Twitter and all of a sudden like became self-conscious. And you're just like, how does this dude play games? No, I'm like,
the secret is. Oh wait, let me not tell the secret. Shh.
They gotta pay for that. They gotta pay for that.
You got an elite controller in both hands, doing curls on.
Exactly. You gotta keep it balanced, bro. Gotta keep it balanced.
All right. But thank you everyone for joining us. Absolute fun show tonight. Yes, I am starting to make content again. I am done building the website I had to do. Definitely looking forward to getting back into it, wanting to try to do some new things. For those looking forward to it, you can find me at Centurion1307, of course, on YouTube, Xbox Live, and Twitter. You can also find me right here every Saturday night with these amazing gentlemen right here, and also awesome guests like Mr. Neo right here on the Shop Podcast. And you could also find me every Sunday night, of course, on the TXR Podcast with the always awesome Invader Gaming and the rest of the crew over there.
Appreciate you, man. You're always a big part of the show, and we love to have you here, man, every single week, man. So let's go ahead and this is where we smooth things out, Neo. So go get your smoking jacket, go get you a nice stogie, get you the 20. You can bust out the 20-year-old cognac. It's okay. Yeah, it's a special occasion. Go ahead, Fuzz. We smooth things out. So Fuzz, by the way, if you didn't notice, we charge people for Fuzz doing people voicemails. So, yeah.
Should I start beatboxing Barry White while he talks?
No, you won't need it. I promise. Fuzz doesn't need that.
Go ahead. Man. No, this was an awesome show. Thank you, Neo, for joining us tonight. It was awesome having you on here. Always great talking games with you. And, man, always fun being here with my compadres, with Pong, Centurion, and Blam. Shout out to Stag. The chat was on fire today. Always awesome talking with you guys in the chat. But if you always want to catch my either memes or complaints or suggestions, you can always find me on Twitter.
All fours are related, by the way.
most of it Forza related.
Oh, speaking of Forza, I just, oh man, I saw a dope ass tweet. I think it was just like a sponsored tweet, but what were they saying? Let me scroll up right quick. What was it? Here it is. The coolest thing about the weather cycle in Forza Horizon 5 is that it's localized. That means you might see a dust storm on one end of the map, a tropical storm on the other, and blazing sun in the middle. I don't know, but y'all, but that made me tingle a bit.
You realize you're trying to end the show, right, Neo?
Just had to throw a feeler out there for Fuzzy, man.
Actually,
the wrong bone.
To help defend Fuzzy, I'm actually wanting to create a YouTube experience where it's called you versus Fuzzy on Forza knowledge, and seeing if you can make better predictions than he can.
There we go.
No, Forza is. You have to understand, being a PlayStation fan for most of my gaming time frame with consoles, at least from the PlayStation 1, went to PC on PlayStation 2 era, but Gran Turismo was like the best thing that happened to gaming, I think, to some extent. But then Drive Club came out, big fan of it, played it, but couldn't play online. They delayed the game a year and it still was broken as far as online, and the advertisements were always like, oh, it's the Forza killer. And considering I couldn't play it online, I figured, well, now's my time to try Forza, and kind of haven't looked back since. I mean, Gran Turismo Sport's great. Drive Club was still great. Some awesome weather effects and things like that. But Forza, just between the motorsport and Horizon, it's always had like a split balance of everything I want. Like when I just want to focus on the racing, motorsport's a great go-to, and then when I just want to aimlessly drive through people's backyards or do some street racing on the highways, Horizons has always been a good go-to. But
and he's so passionate about it now. Turn 10 and Playground have restraining orders out against us.
Like restraining orders. What do you mean?
When I was walking and I saw that icon, that icon looks familiar, but it's got like a "do not enter" sort of thing, or "do not allow on the premises."
Actually, he doesn't want to talk about it, but they came by and they put an ankle bracelet on him. They monitor him at all times.
That would definitely make sense.
No, but you can find me on Twitter at Fuzzy_Belvedere, PSN at Fuzzy_Belvedere, or Xbox Live Fuzzy_Belvedere. Like I said, normally playing Forza or Gran Turismo and a lot of Division lately. And what was the one we played yesterday? Dark Alliance. Yeah. So always great chatting with you guys. Awesome show. Thanks again.
Appreciate you guys. And last but not least, your host with the most, PTK Blam. Catch me on Twitter. All of that information is down in the description below. Appreciate you guys. Follow us here on YouTube as well. Once again, Neo, excited to have you on, man. It was an amazing show. But chat, you guys know what we do. Same time, same place next week. We'll have another amazing guest as well. I'm working on that right now, kind of behind the scenes. Hopefully we'll have somebody good on here. But every guest is awesome anyway, so we're not going to shortchange anybody. But you guys, like Pong said, play what you like what you play. We'll talk to you guys next week. We're out of here, everybody. Peace out.
Peace.
Later.